This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
We're working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Alma Angeles. You're watching ASEAN in Focus, and we're coming to you live from Manila and Thailand. Hello, Esther.
Hi, Alma. I'm Esther Odanga from EBC Thailand Bureau, bringing you the news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines, Malacanang has directed all government offices and instrumentalities in Metro Manila that are under the executive branch to deploy a skeleton workforce during the implementation of the enhanced community quarantine from August 6 to 20th.
Phuket Sandbox tourists left stranded in Phuket after all domestic flights were suspended due to the severe COVID-19 outbreak. They will be offered a special bus transfer service.
President Duterte welcomes the arrival of 3,060,000 doses of Moderna COVID vaccines donated by the United States government through the COVAX facility.
And local carriers Philippine Airlines and AirAsia Philippines announced Tuesday they will give free flights to Olympic silver medalist Nesty Petesio.
First, here in the country, Malacanang has directed all government offices and instrumentalities in Metro Manila that are under the executive branch to deploy a skeleton workforce during the implementation of the enhanced community quarantine from August 6 to the 20th. Under Memorandum Circular, or MC87, inked Tuesday by Executive Secretary Salvador Medaldea, but was made public on today, the head of agency is directed to determine the number of personnel needed to go to the workplace, taking into consideration the services that must remain unhampered even during the imposition of ECQ. Heads of government agencies and instrumentalities, including government-owned and controlled corporations, are told to adopt work-from-home arrangements for their other workers. Before August 6, the head of each agency in the NCR is mandated to submit to the head of the department exercising control or supervision over it, or to which it is attached, the specific percentage of the agency's skeleton workforce and the work arrangements during the ECQ period. Agencies providing health and emergency frontline services, laboratory and testing services, border control, and other critical services are allowed to operate up to full on-site capacity. Metro Manila, which is currently under general community quarantine with heightened restrictions, will shift to ECQ from August 6 to the 20th to prevent the further spread of the more transmissible Delta variant of COVID-19. Other agencies in Metro Manila that are under the legislative and judicial branches of the government, independent constitutional commissions and bodies, as well as local government units, are enjoined to adopt the MC87.
Meanwhile, Palace spokesman Harry Roque Jr. directed heads of households in Metro Manila to declare a family lockdown to help curb the spread of the highly infectious Delta variant. Metro Manila, which is currently under a week-long general community quarantine or GCQ with heightened and additional restrictions until August 5, is scheduled to shift to the strictest ECQ on August 6 to 20 to prevent the spread of the Delta COVID-19 variant. The Department of Health, or DOH, said the total number of COVID-19 cases in the Philippines has breached 1.6 million. Let's take a look.
mga kaibigan, ha, ngayon pa lang homeliners na po tayo, no? Kung hindi kinakailangan lumabas ng tahanan, wag nang lumabas. Alam niyo, may magandang nasabi sa akin si Acting Mayor Rama ng Cebu City. The best way po to implement what we want to achieve is for the head of the family to declare family lockdown. Kada pamilya na po, kung hindi kinakailangan lumabas, yung pinuno ng pamilya, tatay, nanay, lolo, lola, tiyo, mag-order, walang lalabas unless bibili ng pagkain o gamot. Kung hindi kinakailangan, lahat manatili sa tahanan. Alam niyo po, wag na tayong mag-rely pa sa mga ECQ. Family lockdown ang solusyon po dito. Nananawagan po ako sa lahat ng hepe ng mga pamilya, hindi ko naman po masabing padre dahil marami po tayong OFWs, na marami rin mga madre de pamilya, mga lolo de pamilya, no? Family heads, mag-declare na po kayo ng household lockdown. Huwag nyo nang palabasin ang inyong mga mahal sa buhay dahil baka mamatay pa yan dahil sa Delta variant. By order of the head of the family.
And Thailand has again reported new record highs now of 188 fatalities and 20,200 cases over the previous 24 hours. Joining us live from Thailand, here's Veronica Carino. Hello, Veronica.
Yes, hello, Alma. The Public Health Ministry announced that there are 20,200 new infections and 188 new fatalities in the previous 24 hours. In the general population, there were 20,013 cases and 187 in prison inmates. Additionally, on Tuesday, there are 17,975 COVID-19 patients recovered and were discharged from hospitals. On the other hand, there have been 643,522 COVID patients since April 1, when the third wave of COVID-19 began, with 428,380 of them recovering. Moreover, Alma, there have been 672,385 COVID-19 cases since the pandemic began early last year, with 455,806 of them recovering. The death toll in the third wave was 5,409, up from 5,503 at the start of the pandemic early last year. Last Saturday, the country tied its previous one-day high of COVID-19 cases with 18,912, and it is also matched its previous record high of fatalities with 178. More information will be released following the afternoon briefing. This update is from Bangkok Post. And in related news, there will be 10 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines, which are AstraZeneca, Sinovac, and 1.5 million doses of Pfizer Biotech that will be given out in the different areas of Thailand this month. Bangkok, that records daily high new infections among other provinces, will receive 1.25 million doses, according to the Public Health Ministry. This 10 million doses will be allocated in different variations. 1.5 million doses of Pfizer Biotech that were received from the U.S. government on Monday will be designated mainly to the elderly that have not received any vaccination in dark red zone provinces. 750,000 doses will be allocated to 25 non-hospital vaccination sites in Bangkok each month. This is allocated to them to solve the problem between the government agencies that received only lesser amount of vaccine doses. 500,000 doses will be given to Bangkok Metropolitan Administration for them to manage. And according to our World in Data organization, fully vaccinated is already equal to 3.99 million, in which 5.7% of population is fully vaccinated. Back to you, Alma.
Thank you very much, Veronica, for your updates in Thailand. Please do take care and stay safe.
Yes, Alma, thank you. And likewise, reporting live from Thailand, I'm Veronica Carino, and we live in interesting times.
Staying in Thailand, Phuket's sandbox, tourists left stranded in Phuket after all domestic flights were suspended due to the severe COVID-19 outbreak. They will be offered a special bus transfer service. We have Ian Celada reporting live from Phuket. Hi, Ian.
Hi, Esther. So here's the latest news and update in island of Phuket. Starting on Wednesday, today, a special bus transfer service, the Suvarnabhumi Airport will be offered to the Phuket Sandbox tourists after being stranded in Phuket due to suspended domestic flights caused by the new surge of COVID-19. According to Phuket Governor Narong Winsiu, this project is for the tourists who want to catch a flight from Suvarnabhumi to other destinations. On the other hand, those who chose to go straight from home from Phuket can do as the return flights are available as usual. The Sandbox Express bus will start its operation today to August 16. It is available on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, costing 1,500 Thai baht per person. It can be pre-booked through Hotel Certified under the Safety and Health Administration or CHA Plus only. After the reopening of the tourism program last July 1, Phuket was able to send home its first batch of tourists yesterday. Mr. Narong said that many of the tourists had further travel plans before the current COVID situation got serious. This includes Thai tourists and their foreign counterpart who wanted to leave Phuket after the 14-day mandatory stay, but they have difficulty traveling to other destinations. The governor also insists that Phuket is considered the safest place in Thailand in terms of outbreak situation. The cancellation of domestic flight last July 20 has affected travel plans of numerous Phuket Sandbox tourists who completed their 14-day stay. Many of the tourists plan to travel to their destination in Thailand before going to Bangkok. Leaving the country via Suvarnabhumi said that Nantesri Pansuri, Director of the Tourism Authority of Thailand's Phuket office. She added that many of the tourists asked information regarding traveling to other provinces, but they convinced them to stay in Phuket for their own health, safety, and offers them special tourist programs. For the tourists who insist to travel to Bangkok, the bus transfer service appears to be the only option. On the other hand, Nok Air is still in the talks with the Civil Aviation Authority of Thailand about intentions to operate a one-way flight from Phuket to Utapao Airport, specifically for interested Phuket Sandbox passenger. Chief of Phuket Land Transport Office, Chaturong Kaukasi, assured the safety and COVID controls measures will be implemented. These drivers may be denied to re-entry into Phuket if they fail to comply with the province's COVID-19 control measures, he said. Over the past month, as 14,055 tourists have been arrived in Phuket under the Phuket Sandbox program. All this information is from Bangkok Post. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you, Ian, for your update. Thank you for your time. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you, Esther. So before I end, I would like to greet my beloved father, Raul Silada. Happy birthday, Pa, and we love you so much. Thank you very much. Reporting live from Phuket, Thailand is Ian Celada, and we live in interesting times.
Happy birthday to your dad, Ian. Meanwhile, a total of 13.1 billion pesos worth of cash assistance that will be distributed to around 10.7 million Metro Manila residents will be sourced from the savings of all government agencies, that according to Malacanang yesterday. And this also after President Duterte approved Monday the granting of financial aid to individuals affected by the implementation of the most restrictive ECQ or enhanced community quarantine in Metro Manila. Again, let's listen in.
Now, isa na naman pong, hindi ko po alam kung mabuti, at least assurance po na bagamat napakahirap po ng lockdown, ang gobyerno naman po ay magbibigay po ng kahit papanong tulong pinansyal. Now, kinumpirma ko na po na ang halaga ay 1,000 per person at 4,000 maximum per family. Saan po kukunin? Well, ito po'y kukunin sa savings ng lahat ng mga ahensya ng gobyerno. Kung gagamitin natin para sa 10.7 million residents na makakatanggap ng ayuda sa Metro Manila ay suma total 13.1 billion pesos.
Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said qualified beneficiaries residing in Metro Manila will receive 1,000 pesos per person or a maximum of 4,000 pesos per family. And there will be longer curfew hours and stricter border controls across Metro Manila during this 2-week implementation of the enhanced community quarantine. Metro Manila mayors have agreed to impose a uniform 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. curfew hours. Quarantine pass will also be issued to ensure the public's access to essential goods and unhampered service of health workers and other essential personnel. Meanwhile, the Department of Health on Monday has warned that COVID-19 cases here in Metro Manila, as you can see here, could swell up to 15,000 daily if the enhanced community quarantine will not be implemented.
In other news, Consul General Joselito A. Jimeno called on the state of Hawaii Governor David Ige on July 29, where he expressed the Philippine government's appreciation for the state of Hawaii's decision to include the Philippines in its Safe Travels program as a trusted testing partner. This allows Philippine Airlines or PAL passengers traveling from Manila to Honolulu to bypass the state's mandatory 10-day quarantine as long as they are able to present a negative PCR test taken at a PAL-accredited laboratory 72 hours before the departure from the Philippines. Governor Ige, in his reply, said that the state looks forward to restarting and increasing international travel with the Philippines on a more robust and regular basis, cognizant of the large Filipino community which calls Hawaii home. Consul General Jimeno also informed the governor that the Filipino community through the Philcom Cares has been very proactive in supporting the state's efforts to increase the vaccination rate. The Consul General also said that the consulate also has been supportive of the community's efforts through the regular reminders via radio and other media partners to avail of vaccination and continue adhering to recommended health protocols. Governor Ige expressed appreciation for the community's endeavors, noting that people-to-people links are sometimes more effective in getting the message across, convincing people to be vaccinated, adding that the government will focus on increasing the vaccination rate and reminders on remaining vigilant and taking necessary precautions to prevent and spread of the virus, particularly as these measures will be even more important to ensure a healthy and safe environment for in-person learning as the new school year starts on August 3. PAL officials, including President Gilbert Santa Maria, North America Regional Head Brian Lim, and Honolulu Area Manager Soledad Soleza, and consulate officials Consul Grace Ann G. Bulos and Protocol Officer Joel C. Bulos joined Consul General Jimeno during the call. Also present during the call was Hawaii Department of Transportation Director Jade Butay.
Meanwhile, President Duterte welcomed the arrival of 3,060,000 doses of Moderna COVID vaccines donated by the U.S. government through the COVAX facility. The latest batch of donation, which followed the 3,240,850 Johnson & Johnson's Janssen vaccines from the U.S. government, arrived at the Villamor Air Base in Pasay City past 4 in the afternoon. President Duterte recognized in his speech the generosity of the U.S. for sharing other medical supplies to the Philippines, aside from its donated 6 million doses. Again, let's listen in.
It is with joy and high hopes we welcome today the arrival of more than 3 million doses of the Moderna COVID-19 vaccines from the United States of America. I wish to thank the United States for the generosity in sharing various COVID-19 assistance to the Philippines. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to the COVAX facility for the continuous donation of these vaccines. We look forward to the delivery of even more life-saving vaccines in the country very soon. I know that it is the sentiment of America that the vaccines that should be given to the Philippines should go first to those who have least in life. Yung mga mahirap, the poor ones who cannot afford, rest assured that this administration will continue to obtain safe and effective vaccines for everyone.
President Duterte was accompanied by several high-ranking officials in the event, including his spokesperson, Harry Roque, Health Secretary Francisco Duque III, Vaccine Czar Carlito Galvez Jr., Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, among others. For the month of August, the Philippines is expecting 22.7 million vaccine doses from those procured by the government and the donations from the U.S., the United Kingdom, China, and COVAX. And to date, more than 21.2 million doses have been administered in the country.
Staying in the Philippines, the nation's total number of recovered coronavirus disease or COVID-19 cases has reached 1,521,263 after 6,337 new recoveries were reported on Tuesday. In the latest case bulletin of the Department of Health or DOH, the accumulated recovery tally accounts for 94.3% of the total 1,612,541 infections since the start of the pandemic last year. Meanwhile, 6,879 new infections brought the total number of active cases to 63,137 or 3.9% of total cases. About 94% of these active cases are mild, 1.3% are asymptomatic, 1.2% are critical, 2.1% are severe, and 1.46% are moderate. A total of 48 new deaths were also reported, pushing the country's total number of COVID-19 fatalities to 28,141 or 1.75% of total cases.
And the news continues here on ASEAN in Focus. Esther and I will be back right after this break.
Ulo. Sa ilalim ng dagat ay sisisid. Ang tahong ay hahangungin. At ang kita ay palalaguin.
Para ka kumita, sisipagan mo, tapos konting kapitalo, magpopondo ka para meron kang hanguin, no? Meron kang makuha pagdating ng oras. Mga 6 months, 3 months, pabalik na yung puhunan mo.
Kesa sa itapon, no, kailangan natin siyang i-recycle para mapakinabangan.
Iba't ibang sangkap ay lutuin. Utahing di kayang limutin. Ako po si Robin Padilla at ito po ang vlog. Kaagapay sa hanap buhay. Kaagapay sa hanap buhay.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization, startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights, sharpen your instincts for smart decision-making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
Welcome back. Singapore's Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong warned the U.S. against aggressively challenging China. He said Washington's increasingly hardline views could be very dangerous. He also said the U.S. had moved from an approach of healthy competition with China to the view that America must win one way or another. Let's listen in.
To reshape the security, and that is U.S.-China bilateral relations. These became more difficult during the last few years. In the US, this is reflected in a deep shift in attitudes towards China, which is bipartisan and extends beyond the administration and the Congress into the population. And the same forces constrain and shape the policies of the current US administration towards China, as shaped the previous administration. In China, too, attitudes have become more assertive and robust. China's strategic and economic influence has grown. It's taken on a more active international stance. It seeks to reshape the international order to its advantage. Because many US friends and allies wish to preserve their extensive ties with both powers, no good outcome can arise from a conflict. It's vital for the US and China to strive to engage each other to head off a clash which would be disastrous for both sides and the world. So in this situation, I would say to both, pause, think carefully before you fast forward. It's very dangerous.
In other news, the Philippines has officially turned over its role as country coordinator for the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN-China Dialogue, to Myanmar. The Department of Foreign Affairs said it today. In a text message, DFA Assistant Secretary Eduardo Menyes said Myanmar assumed the coordinatorship during the virtual ASEAN-China Post-Ministerial Conference on August 3. Throughout its co-chairmanship with China from 2018 to 2021, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. reported that the Philippines has tried to make as much progress on the Code of Conduct on the South China Sea, or COC, negotiations, even while the pandemic is ongoing. The ASEAN and Beijing adopted the COC framework in 2017 in hopes of a document that will serve as a guideline for parties in the disputed South China Sea, where China, Taiwan, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Vietnam have overlapping territorial claims. Last September 2020, Locsin said he would push through to the second draft and get started on the third before handing the China coordinatorship to Myanmar. At the ASEAN Post-Ministerial Conference with China, Locsin reiterated that disputes in the area should be resolved peacefully in accordance with international law.
And as COVID-19 cases soar in Vietnam, hundreds of checkpoints have sprung up to enforce a strict lockdown in the capital, Hanoi, where even grocery trips are restricted. Take a look.
Mình thấy cái việc mà đi chợ chia theo ngày như thế này thì rất là nó cũng có một chút tác động rất là tích cực trong cái việc phòng chống dịch Covid. Thứ nhất là để cho người dân giãn cách, rồi là hạn chế tập trung đông người ở chợ.
Nó chỉ có một cái khó thế này, tức là phường theo phường. Thì chúng tôi có khi là phường cùng phường này nhưng ở lên chợ này là xa. Còn chợ ngay gần chúng tôi thì lại không được đi. Đấy, nó là như thế, chứ còn thì như thế này là sắp xếp là tốt cho chính sách của nhà nước rồi thì đúng thôi.
Vietnam's capital city, Hanoi, has begun a large vaccination drive since last week, which will last until April 2022, with AstraZeneca, Moderna, and Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines being used. Let's take a look.
Thực ra trước khi đến đây thì cũng rất lo lắng vì cũng sợ là lây nhiễm, nhưng mà khi đến đây thì thấy là các biện pháp cách ly rồi phòng dịch cũng rất là chu đáo và cũng cẩn thận. Nên ra là đến bây giờ thì thực ra mình cũng thấy khá là yên tâm.
Mình nghĩ là khi mà tiêm vaccine rồi thì mình sẽ cảm thấy an tâm hơn cho bản thân mình thôi. Còn rất nhiều người khác cũng chưa được tiêm nên là cái dịch bệnh nó vẫn còn rất là căng thẳng và phức tạp. Nên là mọi người vẫn nên tích cực để phòng tránh theo 5K của Bộ Y tế.
Tất nhiên là chặt chẽ và vất vả hơn rất nhiều rồi bạn. Bọn tôi tiêm từ 7 giờ sáng cho đến 6 giờ chiều. Thời tiết nắng nóng nên bạn biết rồi đấy, rất là vất vả.
5.1 million residents of Hanoi between the age of 18 to 65, along with people in other age groups, will be vaccinated, according to state media. The country has been slow to procure and administer vaccines, with nearly 7 million doses administered among its 100 million people, as cases soar and more than 1,600 deaths have been reported. More than a third of the population were forced to stay home, with the lockdown being extended in the commercial hub of Ho Chi Minh City and 18 other southern cities and provinces, as the country battles in an outbreak that began in April in 2 northern industrial provinces, which has since spread south.
The Philippines and Singapore are the only countries in ASEAN that recorded improvement in manufacturing index for July 2021, according to the IHS Market Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI, reporting this on Monday. Due to the resurgence of COVID-19 in the region, the manufacturing score of ASEAN fell to its 13-month low to 44.6. PMI measures the health of the manufacturing sector, with scores above 50 reflecting improvement, while below the neutral score means deterioration. Of the 7 ASEAN countries monitored by IHS Markit, Singapore recorded the biggest improvement of 56.3. The Philippines' manufacturing score last month settled at 50.4, slightly lower than June 2021's 50.8 index. On the other hand, manufacturing indices of Myanmar fell to 33.5, Indonesia to 40.1, Malaysia to 40.1, Vietnam to 45.1, and Thailand to 48.7. Now, these countries have been experiencing an increase in COVID cases amid the spread of the more infectious Delta variant.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, or PEZA, reported on Tuesday an 8.52% increase in its approved investment for the first half of the year. PEZA Director General Charito Plaza said in a statement that PEZA remains true to its mandate of promoting investments, creating employment, generating exports, and attaining total economic development in our country as we maintain and implement strict COVID-19 protocols and guidelines in our eco zones. We will continue to transform challenges into opportunities so we can ceaselessly serve our Filipino people, our partners, locators, and investors. Total economic zone investments approved from January 1 to June 30, 2021 amounted to 32.57 billion from last year's approved investments worth 29.541 billion. These investments came from 119 UN expansion projects and showcase a considerable growth of 5.31% compared to 113 in 2020. You're back. Alma and I will be back after a short break.
Samahan sina Wedge Kujamat. Itong balitang panggising sa ulo ng mga balita. Apple David.
Sa 60 katao ang isinugod sa ospital.
Phoebe Publico.
Economic sabotage ang mga tiwaling negosyante.
At Cristel Fesalbon.
Pagpresyo ng gulay, makakausap natin.
Para iatid sa inyo ang mga kaganapan at pangyayari sa bansa at sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Mga napapanahong isyu ng bayan. May balitang sports, entertainment at iba pang kaalaman. Simula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 5 ng umaga sa paborito niyong morning show, Pambansang Almusal, dito sa Net 25.
Pambansang Almusal.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Mapupuno ng saya, impormasyon at inspirasyon ang hapon mo sa Afternoon Power. Handog sa inyo ng Net 25. Sasabay sa inyong tanghalian ang inyong Happy Time Barkada at 12 noon. Alamin ang mga pangyayari sa ASEAN nations, ASEAN in Focus at 2 p.m. Ang inyong paboritong awit komentaryo kasama si Leo Obligar sa Piskante ng Bayan. At mga balita sa iba't ibang panig ng bansa, hatid sa atin sa Aguila, Probinsya. Siksik ang hapon mo mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, ang inyong Afternoon Power sa Net 25.
Welcome back. Local carriers, Philippine Airlines or PAL and Air Asia Philippines announced that they will give free flights to Olympic silver medalist Nesty Petesio. At least 60,000 PAL miles per year for life and 5 years of unlimited flights across the Air Asia network await the first Filipino boxer to win an Olympic medal. The 60,000 miles is equivalent to 4 round-trip domestic flights or two round-trip regional flights or 1 round-trip flight to Australia or the Middle East or Honolulu. Either PAL and Air Asia Philippines awarded Olympic gold medalist Heidelin Diaz with 80,000 miles and Lifeline unlimited flights, respectively. In a statement, Air Asia Philippines spokesperson Steve Dilesan said the airline hopes the free flights would motivate the athletes to always go all the way for the gold and to never stop dreaming big. The low-cost carrier also announced that it will give 2 years of unlimited flights to an Olympic bronze medalist. Now, 3 round trips, non-transferable domestic flights will also be given to all Filipino athletes who competed in the Tokyo Olympics. Earlier, budget carrier Cebu Pacific also announced the awarding of 25 free flights to all Filipino athletes who joined the competition. The free flights can be used for any of Cebu Pacific's domestic or short-haul destinations.
Nesty Petesio formally took the silver medal in the women's featherweight boxing event of the Tokyo Olympics after bowing to Japan's Sina Irie on the championship match on Tuesday at the Kokugikan Arena. Despite Petesio's gallant stand, especially in round 2, Irie took the gold by a unanimous decision. Petesio opted to size up her opponent in round 1, but with Irie landing good jobs throughout the round, all the 5 judges gave it to her. Petesio delivered in round 2, tagging Irie with solid strikes enough to get the nod from 4 judges, namely Alejandro Barrientos, Maria Cavaklevia, Mohammad Besmi, and Pakistan Bekpen Betov. Only Judge Manuel Villarino found Petesio's aggression not enough and still gave round 2 to Irie. Both boxers went at it on the final round, but with fatigue coming their way, it was reduced to a clinching game. Only Villarino had 30-27, while other 4 judges had it 29-28 for Irie, who became the inaugural champion of the division. Petesio's silver was the first for the Philippine boxing in the Olympics since Masueto Onyok Velasco clinched the same color of a medal at the Atlanta 1996 edition.
Meanwhile, Ernest John Obiena kissed his hopes for a medal goodbye after failing to clear the bar at 5.8 meters thrice in the men's pole vault finals at the Tokyo National Stadium on Tuesday. Obiena's personal best and Philippine record stands at 5.87, way above the 5.8 he was trying to clear. Now, after what looked like a foul attempt on his 3rd try, Obiena approached the official stable to protest the apparent disparity between the display clock and the official clock located near their table. Realizing the mistake, officials gave Obiena another opportunity, but the Philippines top pole vaulter, his momentum derailed by the error, again failed to leap over the clearance. As highly anticipated, Mondo Duplantis of Sweden won the gold after beating Chris Nilsson of the United States. Duplantis cleared 6.02 meters in just 1 try, while Nilsson missed out on the said height in all his 3 tries. Duplantis, who never had a miss in his first 4 attempts, went all in and tried to break his own world record. However, he fouled all his 3 tries at 6.19 meters, which in effect keeps the Olympic record at 6.03 as cleared by Brazil's Thiago Braz back in 2016 in Rio de Janeiro. Braz, who has been Obiena's longtime training partner in Italy, settled for the bronze after only clearing 5.87 meters.
Finally, in our news, Carlo Paalam guaranteed another bronze medal for the Philippines after winning on points by split decision, defeating reigning champion Shakobidin Zoirov of Uzbekistan in the flyweight division of the Summer Olympic Games at the Kokugikan Arena on Tuesday. Told by the coaching staff to put the pressure on the Uzbek early, Paalam obliged catching the 2016 Rio Olympics champion with several combinations before darting away to safety. The result was an emphatic first-round score of 5-0, which Paalam may have been maintained in the second round before a nasty clash of heads with 1:44 left forced Ukrainian referee Pablo Vasilinchuk to halt play to have the 2 fighters checked by the ring physician. With both fighters deemed unfit to continue because of the slight gash in their heads, The fight was halted and awarded to Paalam, who was ahead on points at the time of stoppage 2019 on 4 judges and tied 1919 score in 5th official for a 4-0 win. He also thanked his coaches, the Association of Boxing Alliances in the Philippines, or ABAP, and the Philippine Sports Commission, or PSC, for the trust and confidence given to him to represent the country.
And congratulations to all the winners. Thank you always, Esther, for keeping me company today. I hope you have a great day and a great week ahead.
Always my pleasure, Alma, and that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Esther Odanga from your ABC Thailand Bureau, and we live in interesting times.
And we'll see you back tomorrow. I'm Alma Angeles. We live in interesting times.